Hey, everybody, welcome to yet another edition of Flash Fried. Oh, God, it's delicious, isn't it?
I'm ready. I'm ready for a big soupy bowl of it. I want to slurp it.
Oh, yeah.
Do we eat soup like that, Paul?
Not in public, but when I'm, in the privacy of my abode.
Damn, dude.
Just
Paul gets down when he eats his soup. He's all like,
It's like a dog eating kibble, man. He just fucking full
Hey,
face
some people-
in the soup.
some people have that love for food where they, like, if there's no one around, they eat with reckless abandon. You know,
I
so.
gets down on my food sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
I have some tactics.
Sounds like you go down on that.
Yeah,
food.
I know. I was about to say.
Yeah. That's good shit. Well, we got a lot of stories today, so we'll just probably jump right into that with minimal banter, I guess. Oh, so I love this one. Police officer fabricated. Why is fabricated in quotes? What is it in dispute that it was fabricated?
It's because it's a police officer, so
Yeah.
he gets a fancy word for it, and they put it in quotes.
I mean,
fabricated.
look right here.
This was a story about a normal civilian person.
There wouldn't be no
It would be
quotes
like,
around that.
big
It'd just be
fat
like,
liar.
lying son of a bitch. Police officer fabricated story about being served McDonald's coffee cup with fucking pig written on cup.
But, I mean, how can you even say fabricated? Because it has the chief of police right here saying, chief says cop fabricated coffee cup insult. It's not
Fabricated.
I mean, is the police chief lying?
What I love about products I find at
Oh,
Grove
good.
is that they're
Wonderful.
Oh, wow. I really want
That's
Groove.
great, man. I want some groove,
Hey,
man.
Guys, a total aside, Groove is amazing.
So while we're waiting for that, a Kansas police officer fabricated a story that a McDonald's employee wrote an expletive on his coffee cup over the weekend, Harrington Police Chief Brian Hornaday said Monday. Hornaday said the officer, who no longer works for the department, had originally claimed he had been given a coffee cup on Saturday that had fucking pig written on it. And now we're looks like our ad is done. We can...
Thanks, Grove.
Yep.
Our evaluation that the McDonald's and our employees, crew members, were absolutely not involved. We stand with our community in being
So this poor woman's job is to go out and, like,
I don't know who this... Yeah, I don't know who this is.
They're like McDonald's spokesperson, it sounds like.
Let's see.
We took seriously our role to be transparent and fully cooperative with Chief Hornaday and his department throughout his investigation. We look forward to continuing
It sounds like she needs a new spokesperson.
Yep.
our strong relationship with the department moving forward. And our McDonald's family maintains great respect for all members of law
She's
enforcement
probably some kind of regional manager or something for McDonald's, I'd imagine.
and our military. And it is with great pride that our restaurant is always open to them.
I mean, as all restaurants across the country are. I mean, is there like any restaurant that has like no cops or soldiers allowed in here?
We have to remember the basis for that is that the Starbucks around the country, some of them have had people kick cops out
Oh, okay.
for, like, we don't want police here,
So
we don't
it's-
feel safe.
It's
but I mean,
shade at Starbucks, I
mean,
guess.
why do you think people in the community feel that way? You know what I mean? Like, it's not like it just came from nowhere.
So here is the police chief, Hornaday here.
In
It's
that
a horny
investigation,
day.
we have found that McDonald's and its employees did not have anything whatsoever to do with this incident. This was completely and solely fabricated by a Harrington police officer who is no longer employed with our agency. The actions
Whoops.
Okay, so
Oh, man.
let's read a little bit more about this. The officer, who has not been identified, was with the Harrington Police Department for only 2 months, Hornaday
Oh,
said.
so someone wanted to be special.
Hornaday added that his investigation concluded the accusation was meant to be a joke. No, it was
Wow.
not meant to be a joke. Here's the social media post, I think, or at least a picture that the cop had. Yep, they wrote "fucking pig" on my coffee cup. So I mean, like, you're basically this cop in order to feel like it's not a joke. It's him trying to be. It's a snowflake thing. This is like, I'm a victim.
Right.
Look at me, my poor victim. He wants his little victim points because that's currency in America now. And so he fucking stages one of these incidents where oh, I was, and this has been, we've seen this happen in different sort of contexts where, black people will go to a restaurant and
waiters have claimed that
they'll say, "Oh, I was."
customers left
They
racist messages.
wrote a racist message on the receipt, or they said something racist to me or whatever, and then it turns out to be completely false.
Well, it's a social media hoax. We covered this,
And
on episode.
yeah, we did. And there was a recent couple of hoaxes where this woman claimed that her son got beat up for wearing a MAGA hat,
Oh, yeah,
and that
right.
turned out to be completely made up. There was another one where a woman showed her kids all bloodied up, where it was like, oh, my kids got attacked for being Trump supporters. So, this is happening on both sides. This is happening to the SJW special snowflake side. It's happening on the MAGA, make America good again bullshit. And now it's even tainted the police, where even they feel like, oh, look at us, guys. Oh, look how I'm treated just because I wear the uniform and try to help my community.
Everybody's a victim now.
Dude, not enough bad shit happens in real life. People have to go out and fucking make it up. It's like, you know what? I want something bad to happen to me, so people feel bad and sorry for me. So what can I do?
It's like Hitler drawing something on a receipt and like, look, they made fun of my mustache.
So, I mean, like, look, this guy who did this, in order to feel special, he was willing to throw everybody working in that McDonald's under the fucking bus.
Hurt their business owner.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously,
Willing to harm the business, willing to harm the employees working for the business, going to put them through the ordeal of an investigation into this matter. And who knows? I mean, like, I'm sure some of those employees were pretty goddamn tense, thinking they might lose their job if this gets pinned on them.
The receipt says, your mustache looks like a pig's bristle brush, which I would clean my rear end with. Poor Hitler.
My McDonald's have the utmost respect for all members of law enforcement, military, blah, blah, blah. We thoroughly reviewed our security video from every angle, which clearly shows the words were not written by one of our employees. We look forward to working with Chief Hornaday as he continues his investigation. So luckily, there was enough security footage to just rule out even the slightest possibility that one of the employees of the Starbucks did this.
well, do you remember that crazy case where someone claimed they got a finger in their chili at Wendy's?
Yes, I do remember
And
that.
that's the same thing. Obviously, ultimately proved the accusations to be false. I mean, that's why you really need this kind of thing. Then we need body cams on cops. Maybe if this cop had a body cam, it would show that when he got his drink there, that it wasn't fucking pig wasn't written on it.
Fucking pig.
Wow.
Just depressing. That
And you know
someone
what?
would do
I think
this.
I think in doing this, he did reveal that he is a fucking pig.
Yeah, I guess he really
So-
did. I guess he maybe proved his own slur against himself right.
There's a lot more to this story than what is being portrayed online. Hopefully, McDonald's will follow through with showing me the video that didn't exist when I met with them Saturday night. Hornaday initially told CBS affiliate WIBW, adding, "It doesn't appear this matter is going to be resolved anytime soon." That's obviously him speaking before the truth came out. I sincerely hope it doesn't happen again, but I assure you that I assure you, okay, that I will often question my decision about posting anything on social media because of the impact that it could have, blah, 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 blah. So basically, the real takeaway from this is snowflake, wannabe victim, cop, trying to get sympathy, probably got it.
I think drilling down even more is how insidious and poisonous social media has become to our culture, where that everyone now uses social media as a platform to just basically advertise their victimhood constantly. It's like the police are, like you said before, the police are doing, everyone's doing it now. It's just like, it's to me depressing that instead of using these tools for communication in a positive way, we're using it in just a very immature, childish way.
I didn't pull a story about this. I don't even know if there's articles that have been written about it, but have you guys seen the stuff going on with John Boyega's Twitter?
Oh, Finn from
Yeah,
Star Wars?
no.
Yeah, I've heard a little bit about it.
So basically, he made a joke about, well, someone else, Star Wars spoilers for the latest movie here, so whatever. It's not spoilable. It sucks. But Kylo Ren and Rey fucking have some awkward-ass kiss, and then Kylo Ren dies. He fades away because he gave all of his Force energy to Rey. And someone made some kind of comment about it, and they were directing it towards John Boyega, and they were like, hey, now that the competition, now that the competition's dead, you can get that. And he's like, yeah, brother, doesn't matter who got that first kiss, just matters who lays the pipe.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Which is great,
which is
You mean he's got a personality?
right. So, and because he had a personality and told a joke, of course there was outrage, and you're a misogynist, you're a sexist, you're a bad person.
Women are just a vessel for your pipe. Ugh.
You disgust me. A lot of black people wrote him and said, like, I'm ashamed that you are the black representation for Star Wars. And people were like, I was so proud when you were in the movies, but now I know you're a disgusting person and all this.
All the emotional manipulation
Right.
that goes into shaming somebody for a simple fucking harmless joke.
Yeah, and then the great thing about this story is, though, that where 1,000,001 celebrities would have immediately been like, I apologize for my insensitive remarks, he's just going off on him. He's just like, you're a moron, fuck you, just
Good.
posting troll memes at him and shit. I love it, dude.
Well, it's good to see somebody that doesn't participate in that
I know.
fucking endless cycle of sorrow that is the PC outrage mob.
I just love that he didn't give in to them. And, I didn't care for the movies, and
Why should he give in to them, though?
I didn't think his character was that great. I don't really blame him. He just wasn't written well, in my opinion, but that's just me. But, man, loving his Twitter at this point, so
I mean, why wouldn't you? I mean,
continue to thumb your nose at
how
those
many
morons.
people have apologized, and it doesn't make a difference? Like, people need to realize, like, apologizing to a random large mob of incensed people is not going to fix the problem. You're not going to suddenly make it go away, because your apology will never be good enough. It's the fact that at that point, in your mind, you're damaged goods. You're a damaged person. You've done these horrible things. Maybe some people will do, like, if you totally capitulate, we might forgive you. But for the most part, I've seen celebrities come out and prostrate and go, yes, please, I'm so sorry. And it's like, no, not good enough. You should still be banished.
Anyway, so I thought that was kind of a funny social media related kind of story.
I love that people being offended is something we're supposed to find a reason to care about.
Yeah.
Like, but I've never had somebody be offended and had it turn into anything positive in my life, or add anything to anywhere I've ever gone or any trip I've ever gone on. If somebody got offended on it, it was never so why are we so reverent of that? Why are we supposed to care?
The right to be offended. So beautiful. So important.
It's just like, nobody cares when I'm fucking offended by everything I see. I'm
That's
not
what
out
that's
bitching about it.
I mean, the thing is, everybody's offended by something. Even people who...
Some people are offended by everything.
Yeah.
Right. There's people who are offended by every little fucking thing that happens. And then, but even like, I'm offended by shit. There's shit that offends me that I'm like, oh, I don't know about that. But I don't expect anything to change at my behest just because I have a fucking problem or something. Like, I'm offended by the terrible fucking music scene. You know, like, in my opinion, a lot of the shit that's being made now is just so insipid and garbage that
I'm
it
offended by
actually
the
offends
whole
me.
system of capitalistic exploitation that we have to, like, we're under the gun to live under. I have to pay the piper in order to survive. I'm offended by that.
Yeah, do something about that.
I'm offended by what little say I have in politics, even though I don't want one. Do the math on that one. I'm offended by everything.
We have to, like, sit there with a calculator. Be like,
I'm offended by the shops and storefronts that I'm supposed to go in. The way they're designed with the big fucking harsh-ass clinical lighting and a Walmart just offends me.
yeah, the very existence.
It should offend you. I mean, like, when you walk into a store like Walmart, it's just if that's how you feel, that's like basically everything wrong with America and with a capitalist system is Walmart just personified.
Yeah,
It's-
so basically,
it's cheap shit made by people who are totally exploited, sold to other people who are being totally exploited, all for the behest of a small
there's
group
just
of people.
there's a big ladder of exploitation going on because the people that work there are being
The
exploited.
people that shop there are being exploited.
And the people who manufacture their cheap ass goods are being
Are
exploited.
really being exploited. Yeah.
So it's pretty much a big old fucking. They might as well just call it the exploitation dome, except it's not dome shaped.
Exploitation Mart. Go in there and use your company's script.
It's horrible in there.
Yeah, to the point where so many of their employees actually have to rely on government assistance to,
To
Pay
make
their
ends meet.
bills.
to make ends meet at the end of the day, even though they have a job. It's like, you work a job, you work a full-time job in America, and you still have to go get a government handout to pay your fucking bills. So, and the taxpayers foot the bill because Walmart won't pay their employees enough. And Walmart has improved marginally on that over the course of the last few years, but it's still terrible. Anyway, let's move on to another story. This is Booty Judge campaign introduces contest for lowest donation.
I can win that. I'm not going to give him a cent.
Yeah.
I
won the contest.
I win.
I'm going to actually go to his Pete Buttigieg campaign headquarters and steal money. So I'm going to win even more. I'm going to have a negative donation. Pete Buttigieg's presidential campaign announced a new contest to drum up fundraising. Who can give the Democratic candidate the lowest contribution? In an email to supporters. Okay, so
I just don't even understand this campaign.
no, this is. Well, I'll explain it to you.
Okay.
Because Kyle Kalinske did a story about this, and a number of people online have pointed this out too. So you remember in the debates how people like Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren like to flout their
contributions.
Yeah, their the low amount of the average contribution to their campaign.
Millions of people have given us only $3 a month.
Yeah. No, well, it's like the average donation to my campaign is $17 or $20 or whatever the fuck.
Only $7, TJ.
So then, and the reason that they like to do that is because it says to people, hey, it's not a bunch of billionaires funding my fucking campaign. It's a lot of ordinary people.
Bernie has almost hit 5 million people have given to his campaign.
Right, which is shatters the old record for number of donations to a political campaign. But Pete Buttigieg, who is in the pocket of fucking billionaires, is like, man, I want to be able to have that talking point. And this contest this contest is to drive the average donation number down, so that he can have that talking point and go out and be like, the average donation of my campaign is only $10 or whatever,
and also increase the total number of people that have given money.
Right, and also increase the number of donations.
3 million people have joined us.
So basically, this is just an attempt for Pete Buttigieg to fund be able to say these talking points that he hears from some of his opponents who are kicking his ass in the authenticity kind of department.
Yeah,
so that he can fucking, he wants to be able to have these talking points. And this contest, which makes no sense as a contest, someone gives a penny, how are you going to beat it?
Doesn't that just demonstrate why he's the antithesis of what he's trying to claim to be, though? I mean,
he got all. I don't know if either of you guys watched the last debate. I watched it. The words "wine cave" were pretty much the words of the day. Because everybody was talking about Pete Buttigieg and his little wine cave soiree with the fucking rich donor class, and
wow.
everyone was talking.
Oh yeah,
even Yang, who's usually not. He's not a guy that goes on the attack. Even he was talking about fucking the wine cave.
The woman from that show Glee and stuff was all like Pete, because she's a Buttigieg supporter. She's like, Buttigieg, people have every right to meet with them and try to lobby and blah blah blah. And it's like, yeah, but they're having a fancy soiree. You don't think they're going to have more access than the common person is going to have to Pete Buttigieg sitting on a table with him?
You talk about that bitch that was all like, billionaires have every right, have the same rights as anyone to talk to these candidates.
Yeah.
It's like, what right do I have? You think I can go into a wine cave with Pete Buttigieg and tell him what I think his agenda should fucking be?
If you pay $25,000 or whatever it is, sure.
$100,000 a plate dinner, cool. Yeah. Let's sit down and do that.
To try to argue that money does not give you access in American politics is one of the dumbest arguments I've just ever heard. Period.
Exclamation point. But I just thought it was kind of funny because Pete Buttigieg, man, he amuses the fuck out of me. Are you still a Buttigieg boy, Paul? You still going for the judge?
I want to be in his wine cave.
Oh.
How deep in that wine cave do you want to be?
How far back does it go?
I don't know.
I guess you're going to find out.
Sanders says he'll enact national drinking water standards. And I was surprised when I saw this on Twitter that the amount of people who were like, wait, we don't have that now? Nope, we sure don't. If we did, do you think Flint, Michigan would be happening?
I mean, there are some federal regulations on, the things, contaminants and stuff in water, but they're not very strong.
Democratic presidential hopeful Bernie Sanders said Tuesday that he would enact federal drinking water standards for a group of toxic chemicals that have caused widespread contamination in New Hampshire and other states. New Hampshire recently set some of the nation's toughest standards for some kind of chemical. I don't know.
Perfluorokill.
Fluoroalkyl.
Alkali?
I don't know. And some other one that's basically the same.
Polyfluoroalkali
Yeah.
substances.
There you go. Collectively called PFAS or PFAS. But a judge temporarily blocked enforcement in November after chemical company 3M sued.
Huh.
The New Hampshire standard limits one chemical to a maximum of 12 parts per trillion and another to 15 parts per trillion, far lower than the 70 parts per trillion the Environmental Protection Agency has advised for the chemicals. Sanders, a Vermont senator, said instead of spending millions on lawsuits to gut clean water rules, such companies should be paying to clean up contamination. He said as president, he will create national clean water standards for PFAS as well as other chemicals in an effort to guarantee clean drinking water as a human right. Yet another communist fucking plan by, Venezuela Sanders here.
I mean, and not only that, if you look at this issue, if you think this is just limited to places like Flint, Michigan,
it's all across the
you
country.
are
man.
dead wrong. It's all over this country, and everyone should want this because it affects every person that lives in this country and many places around the world. I mean, access to clean drinking water. I mean, that's like they have that water charity that goes and builds wells. I mean, this is
We need that fucking water charity to come build some wells here in fucking America at this point.
I mean, if you don't have water for 3 days, you're dead. You can fucking survive up to 60, 70 days without food. I mean, if you don't have, and look at the effects it has, even if you do get the water, like the water in Flint. Look at the water. I mean, and people don't realize how lead and these other chemicals in the water can fuck you up. And people are talking about lead, but there's a lot of other chemicals and contaminants that if you look in your water supply in a lot of areas, it has. I mean, there's some areas, I've looked at maps of drinking water, and there's like 13 to 14 contaminant levels above what's already advised. And people are drinking that water all the time. They don't even realize it.
Yeah, I mean, the sad truth is that, you can't trust the water that comes out of your tap as fucking drinking water. And that's why there's such a huge market now for bottled waters.
And water filters.
That's why I have a fucking company that brings big fucking giant 5-gallon things of water to my house every fucking month. That's why there's a huge water filter industry. But, I mean, there was a time in this country where people would just turn on their fucking faucet and drink fucking water out of it. Now, maybe it was because they just didn't have as much awareness as to the kind of chemicals that were being pumped into it at the time.
Probably that.
But, I mean, like, it'd be nice if you could just trust the water that came out of your fucking tap and be like, water. Like, it's just, I pay your water bill, I guess, and get clean, drinkable fucking water delivered to your house via the system of pipes that we've spent.
I got a better idea, TJ.
What's that?
Why don't you get that water, and then we just say, hey, the regulations are what we say they are, and we meet the regulations.
I
so
got
we're
a better
good.
idea.
There was a
3M can dump petrofluorokill into the water supply in any dose they want. How's that?
Sounds good.
Sounds like a winner.
So I remember the CEO of Nestle, I remember it was a few years back, it was under the Bush administration, I think, was talking about people who say that water is a right, and he was describing them as like these radicals who think water's a right. It's like, man, you
can't live without it.
You need it to live. I mean,
if water is not a right,
if water's not a right, then you don't have a right
Yeah.
to live, basically.
Yeah.
You have no right to even exist.
Your body is like 75% water. I mean, I don't fucking know. Like, if you can't have water, I don't know.
And there's like laws.
Just wait till the air tax kicks in.
Yeah, dude. There's even laws on the books that that are like, oh, you can't even like gather up rainwater and shit because that you might mess with the company's bottom line. I don't know why you'd want to drink rainwater, but
the Silver Plan covers 80,000 breaths every week.
Just wait for
nearly double what the average person needs.
Wow. And if you act now, you can have your whole family on this plan for only $399 per month. Clean.
I mean,
filtered,
basically that's
crisp
what
air.
we're in. We don't have the absurdity of a tax on every breath you take, but in terms of just existing to enrich an ever smaller group of billionaires, yeah, we already have that.
Yeah, the wealth of the richest people.
That's the American dream. That's the system everybody's so fucking defensive of.
It's
Is
beautiful.
literally a gun to your head. If you don't pay, you die.
So Tulsi Gabbard has missed 85% of House votes this fall. Hawaii's ex-governor wants her to resign.
What other job can you just show up to fucking 15% of it? Because I want to work that job.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I agree, man. Why not? Collect 100.
Are you fucking kidding me? She missed
85%.
There's no job in America that would fucking sustain you under that.
But Paul, she needs to do her media appearances. Come on.
Oh, yeah. Paul shows up 15% of the time, you know?
Yeah, or every fucking, once out of every, 9 or 10
No, it is
episodes,
her-
Paul shows up.
It is her dumbass job to show up to these votes. And not only to show up to these votes, but to put in the time and effort that's required to research these votes and make that vote with the conscience of all the people she represents in mind.
Now, Tulsi
Is
Gabbard...
that not her fucking job? No,
It is her
Is that
job.
not her fucking job?
It is.
It is her job, yes.
100%. Yes.
How does she not vote in 85% of the matters that come before her when she went there to vote on things like that?
Because the only person that Tulsi Gabbard represents is herself. That's why.
And she's not seeking re-election, so I don't really know if there's much of a point in her
She
resigning, but...
Because she should resign. Because she's not going to do her job, then fuck her. She needs to be gone.
So let's see. Hawaii's former governor says running for president is getting in the way of Tulsi Gabbard representing the state in Congress. Neil Abercrombie called on her to resign from the House of Representatives. Abercrombie, a Democrat who served until 2014, said in a press conference on Monday that it was quite clear Gabbard is unable to serve the people of Hawaii and run for the Democratic nomination at the same time.
What's Bernie's vote total?
We can probably look it up.
Like
Yeah.
what's his current what you know what I mean? Is there a website that tracks
Yeah.
when
Oh,
they're
yeah.
present or when they don't vote?
I'm sure there probably is.
Yeah, let me go ahead and see if I can find that out while
I'm just
we're
wondering.
doing this. Oh, sorry, wrong one.
I don't know whether this is going to be
So, we
you
can
know,
read
Now,
about
I'm sure that a lot of these candidates running for president might miss some votes, but I'm assuming on the basis of the fact that they actually. Oh wait, well, hold on. It says there's a website right here that links to GovTrack. So let's
Right.
see.
So we can go to GovTrack and see.
Da.
So Bernie's a senator.
I'm just trying to figure out where it even says on here where what amount of fucking bills she voted on.
I mean there should be a
Hold on, let me just see
.gov
here.
that
Gabbard missed 125 of 146 votes. She was the only voter made president. Yeah, I know that according to GovTrack. So it says she missed 125 of the 146 votes taken in the House from October through December. So let's see if we can find that on this website really quick. Gabbard, where can we look at like a vote breakdown? Bills sponsored voting record.
That's their voting record. This is what
it
this
just
is,
says key votes.
That's just
Missed
what,
votes.
Missed votes. Here we go.
Wow. I mean, look at this.
So you see here.
So
I mean,
that's-
until October.
That's just insane.
So basically, she was voting,
And this is the excuse for this is she's running for president.
running
right?
for president, so she
No.
can't do it. I guess.
If this is the level of representation that the people that voted her in to do their bidding get, then you should have to resign your fucking
go
position
back,
to run
TJ?
for president.
yeah, hold on. What is it?
Go back to that screen you were just on.
All right.
Let's see our analysis of presidential candidates' missed votes. So let's see. That'll give us a thing. You see the link?
Okay, let's see.
So we can find. Hey, TJ, did Delaney miss some votes, man?
I don't know. Oh wait, no, he had.
So here's Bernie.
Bernie's. Oh wait, hold on. Which one? There's like 9. This is the problem having 9 million fucking candidates
Yeah.
here. Oh, Dennis. Oh, we're fucking getting all the way back to like 2012.
So he
and
missed
shit.
16.8% of the votes. Let's see.
Let's see. So Tulsi Gabbard here. Where do we see how much? Okay, so she missed 80%. I mean, it looks like It looks like there's a number of people who fucking missed votes during running for president here.
What about our favorite Bernie, TJ?
Well, here's Elizabeth Warren. I mean, she looks like she's missed 100% for the last few fucking.
Yeah, she's just been absent.
She's basically just been gone. How about Klobuchar?
Pretty
She's over.
close.
She's over 80%. Delaney hasn't missed any votes.
Yeah.
He's not even running.
Yeah, he's
Joe Biden. He's not in a position. Where's Bernie's at? Oh, here it is. So
You
yeah,
know what, dude? Delaney also hasn't missed any leg days, though.
That's also true. So it looks like. Wait, that's from 2016. Is there the 2021? Or is it just the same here?
so it looks like during that period that pretty much all of them miss the votes.
Yeah, Bernie Sanders didn't show up. I mean, it looks like what's with this? What's where it goes back down to 20% there? Is that just after election?
Probably. Well, that's 100 days before the election.
Okay, so but this one says 2016. So is there another Bernie for 2020, or is it just all one chart?
I don't know.
So Elizabeth Warren's missed all the votes. Cory Booker's pretty much missed all his votes.
So they're saying this, actually. We post this information so you can fact-check claims you hear about candidates missing votes. As you can see, this is a normal, bipartisan, and we think totally fine.
Yeah, so here's Bernie in 2020.
Yeah.
So it's basically, I mean, it seems like maybe Tulsi Gabbard is actually being picked on here because it looks like none of these people are showing up for these fucking votes.
Listen, many of the missed votes are procedural or outcome may not have depended on the candidate's votes, and the party leadership in each chamber may have scheduled votes strategically to make it harder only for candidates and other parties to be present. So it's like...
I don't think that should even be an issue. I think every member of every party should be present at every fucking vote.
Here's another thing. Is like, shouldn't there be like do they really have to be on the floor to do the vote at this point?
I'd be fine if they wanted
Yeah.
to cyberize it or whatever.
Right,
the fuck, but there
it-
should be a record of how they voted on every one of these. Fucking issues.
What's the magic of them voting while in that building? Like,
I don't
especially
care what
if someone's
the
on the
strategy
campaign
is.
trail.
I don't care whether or not their vote is technically needed to pass or defeat a measure. Their asses should be in the seats.
Yeah.
Because you know why?
Because it's their job.
That vote should be based on research they did and with the thoughts of their constituency in mind. Yeah, I want them to be. Yeah, I want a record of their vote. They don't all have to sit in the old dusty chamber if they don't want to anymore.
We live in the fucking age where people can literally get information.
And you know
wherever
what?
they're at.
Maybe some of these missed
But-
votes could be solved by embracing some technology. Stop doing these in-person fucking rallies.
yeah.
Hologram Tulsi, go out.
Another thing, though, is just it does seem, even though I do agree with what Paul's saying, and I think that I think especially if you're on a campaign trail, I think you should be able to fucking vote remotely. I don't think you should have to actually be in the fucking chamber to do it. But
What other job do you just get to go, I'm running for president, so I ain't showing up to 125 of the 146 days I'm contracted for? None.
I mean, if they're just there to vote, then
If
let
you want to
let
run
them
for
vote
president,
wherever.
if you're serious about running for president and you're not just looking to advance your political career or advance your fucking mentions on social
I mean,
media.
anybody who's running for president is looking to
Which
advance
the
their
fact that we're
fucking
looking at the
political career.
most bloated fucking Democratic primary in my fucking lifetime memory should go to show you that that's exactly what's fucking going on. There's so many people still on that fucking stage that know they ain't winning it,
Which
and
doesn't
they're
make any
missing
sense.
votes for that.
Yeah,
If you're serious about
Tulsi
running,
Gabbard is
if you're serious about making a go at the fucking thing, you quit your job. That's what a normal dude that works for a corporation has to do if he wants to run for fucking president.
Well, Tulsi Gabbard is about 3% nationally, so she literally has no chance. But it does seem like this article is kind of picking on her when it seems like what she's doing is actually pretty standard in the field. So I don't know that she should be singled out here. I think if anything, this article should be like all the Democratic candidates missing the total percentage of votes are, and like have a ranking system. I don't really know why they're singling her out when it doesn't seem like she's any worse than any of the others.
She doesn't appear to be any worse than Warren.
I mean, everyone else is missing the votes, so it seems like that's just the standard. Yeah, I think that this should be more. I think the criticism should be more broad here. But I know the media does like to pick on Tulsi Gabbard.
I mean,
so
No, everybody up there that's missing votes right now gets my scorn.
Well,
Fucking Elizabeth Warren's missing votes.
I think the point that Paul's getting to is TJ's who else can just not show up to their job and there's no consequence and it doesn't matter.
Maybe I have an archaic idea of what representation
so
is.
let me just ask you. I mean, like if it was like, does this? I mean, like, is it just the right of a politician? Like, could you run for Congress and just be like, I'm not voting ever. I'm just never going to vote. I don't care. It's my job. I'm not going to do it.
I mean, I'm sure that you could.
I mean, is there any
Yeah.
is there any repercussion for that? It doesn't seem like there's any
No.
like accountability. So
I mean, you can be removed.
I mean, it's
They can
fodder.
vote to remove you.
It's fodder for a counter protest or a counter. You know what I mean? Run. Then it's definitely going to be used against you
Yeah,
when you
of
have to
course.
fucking be elected again.
But once you're elected, unless they vote to remove you, but if you haven't actually technically done anything, I
Well,
don't.
there's a process by which these
Yeah.
people can be fucking removed.
Yeah.
But people don't take advantage of that political process nearly enough, in my estimation.
And usually you're removed for malfeasance or something. You know, you stole money or you lied or whatever.
There's no seriousness to the business of fucking government anymore. It's
Not at
all
all.
appearances and social media stuff and fucking outside contracts. Why are they not present?
because it doesn't matter because
What the fuck were they sent there for?
they don't make any. Paul, we all know those people are for the most part not making any real decisions. They're being told by someone else how to vote and how to decide what they need to do. That's their
Atheist
big
group
push.
asks IRS to probe megachurch over pro-Trump rally. Says event violates rule banning political participation.
Well, don't hold your breath on the IRS to do shit about this.
An atheist group advocating for the separation of church and state has written a letter to the IRS asking that an upcoming rally for President Donald Trump be investigated due to its being hosted by a Miami, Florida megachurch in violation of IRS regulations on nonprofit organizations, including churches. Rebecca Markett, the legal director of nonprofit Freedom from Religion Foundation, FFRF, sent the letter Tuesday to Mary Epps, who leads the IRS exempt organization's examinations department. In the letter, Markett says IRS rules are being thwarted because Ministerio Internacional El Rey Jesus, King Jesus International Ministry,
That's a mouthful.
plans to host the rally set for Friday in Miami. FFRF respectfully requests that the IRS commence an immediate investigation into into my terrible cough, into King Jesus' ministry's violation prohibiting 501c3 organizations from participating in and/or intervening in a political campaign. The IRS should take appropriate action to remedy any violations that occurred or which continue to occur.
I don't know what chances something like this has of being taken seriously at this point, but I agree with, you know what I mean? He shouldn't be fucking funneling money into a mega church with his campaign.
Yeah, so, I mean, they're not...
He's going to kick back to the people that are supporting him. That's basically, obviously, what this is totally viewed as. I mean, like, look, one Christian magazine came out against Donald Trump, and then like, just a fucking groundswell, or, just a fucking total reversal of that happened with, like, you had all these other conservatives come out in support of Trump saying, oh, no, they don't speak for the evangelicals. Like, Trump needs these people, so of course nothing's going to happen. The IRS is not going to investigate this. The IRS pretty much has a blanket policy to do nothing about the nonprofit status or non-tax status of churches. They don't do anything.
Very rarely do they prosecute a case of it's like preachers aren't even allowed to fucking be political from the pulpit.
And yet they are constantly.
They're a tax-exempt organization. They're not allowed to tell you, hey, you vote for Donald Trump or you're crazy, but it happens literally.
It's probably happening right now as we speak.
Down
so,
here,
yes.
you could probably throw a rock and hit a church inside of which this is happening.
And our great
And,
president, President Trump.
You know what I mean? The IRS does nothing about that. It's just a big, like, the only answer is to start taxing these organizations.
I agree with that. I've always been in favor of taxing the churches. And
How are they different from a business? They're
They're not.
run like a business. They sell a product to people.
At this point,
they
the main-
provide a facility for people that people use in exchange for handfuls of fucking
difference,
money.
the main difference at this point is the fact that they're tax exempt. They're like a business that has somehow found the ultimate loophole to not pay any taxes. Actually, a lot of mega corporations also seem to have found that since
What does
we
Amazon
know
pay?
Amazon is not paying taxes, and a number of other companies have paid
GE,
zero in
tons
taxes.
of-
So
It just seems like the more powerful you are in America, the less taxes you pay.
strange.
Hmm.
Almost like there's a connection there.
I mean, this one is particularly flagrant, though. I mean, it's like, it's the current president of the United States.
They're literally holding a rally for the president.
I mean,
as
this
a church.
This is far from, Billy Joe Bob down at First Baptist International or whatever that's preaching to
Plant the
his
seed.
15-person Sunday morning congregation about how they need to vote for Trump. You know what I mean? This is a giant money printing. You know these mega churches?
They make billions.
They literally print money.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's insane how much money flows through these international ministries that take donations
Dude.
from all over the fucking globe.
In the area we live in, there's a mega church called Church of the King, dude. And like every Wednesday and every Sunday, when people leave that service, dude, you just see these cars and it's just really nice
It's a
cars.
swarm.
It's just
And how many of those people are just leaving tax-exempt money?
the vast majority.
You know what I mean? It's
10%, dude. Give 10%. You got to give 10% to the church.
but they shouldn't be taxed
Absolutely not.
because that's everybody's idea of a church, right?
Here's another one about with this kind of an atheist bent. Harvard law professor: atheists can't be trusted to hold public office. I'm not a Harvard law student, much less a law professor, but Adrian Vermeulen is, which is why it's all the more disturbing that he seems to believe atheists are incapable of holding public office. Responding to a Washington Post article about how white evangelicals falsely fear that atheists would strip away their rights given the chance, one person chimed in by saying several states have laws on the books saying that atheists can't hold public office or serve on juries.
How is it that a Harvard law professor has the exact same stupid opinion as a hillbilly does? How does that happen?
Hold on.
Religion.
Let's get to it. That's absolutely true, even if those laws are unenforceable. So basically, there's some laws in several states that say atheists can't hold public
look.
office, can't serve in juries.
On the jury part, I actually am fine with that.
Yeah,
Keep that law
give me
on the
jury
books.
exemption.
Yeah, give me the jury exemption.
Actually, those laws are not enforceable. Though.
I was
Too
yeah,
bad.
there was no litmus test for religion when I was on the jury.
The point is that when Christians are in power, they actually have limited atheist rights. There's no analog the other way around. In response to that, Vermeulen chimed in saying that those states were right to ban atheists from serving in office because atheists can't be trusted to keep an oath.
Don't you love?
So here's his response.
Okay, go
This guy says, this guy quotes the Washington Post article, and he says, in contradiction of the U.S. Constitution, 8 states technically bar atheists from holding public office or serving on juries. And Adrian Vermeulen says, sensible. Atheists can't be trusted to keep an oath.
But the point I was going to make is, don't you love how they have done exactly what they're afraid of, but then they're afraid that atheists would get into power and do that to them? I mean, isn't that just fucking ironic for you? Like,
Pretty ridiculous.
They're so fucking worried that some atheist is going to get there and be like, I now ban Christianity. The gavel goes down. The churches just get fucking torn down the next day. I mean, come on.
So, of course, a number of people had clapbacks to this. The author of this article, I think it's Hermit Meta.
Yeah.
Hermit Meta.
Okay.
Over at the Friendly
The
Atheist,
Friendly Atheist.
blog, has actually pointed out here that there's actually Bible passages against taking oaths. Only because you're only supposed to make oaths to God, basically, you know.
Right.
So, but that's no problem. So it's but it's the atheists who can't keep an oath.
It's the people that are doing. I just don't get it, dude. That's like, you're you go and run murdering people, then it's like, I'm worried they're gonna murder people, so I have to murder them first. Like, what the fuck is this?
And let's see this guy's fucking page here. Tyler, professor of constitutional law, Harvard Law School. There is a day to come which will reverse the confident judgments of men.
Wow, what a wacko, man. So that you just want you want a divine revelation? You want your fucking divine dictator to come down and be like, all done away with.
In the new year, I resolved to have fewer fruitless conversations across fundamental differences in worldview. Such conversations can only end in either silence or rancor. The only questions are who will ultimately be in charge and how much dissent they will or should tolerate.
Okay.
Yeah, about time. So anyway, this dude's a fucking nut job. But apparently on the Harvard payroll, so that's wonderful. By the way, this guy probably getting some... all these big colleges like Harvard and shit are all government subsidized, so this guy is probably getting paid some tax dollars.
Probably.
So that's a nice thing to know.
Well, Harvard has, I believe, the largest, or at least one of the largest endowments in the world.
Right.
I mean, billions upon billions of dollars. So it's just crazy they would be even getting these.
I'm not really bothered by this because I don't think he is representative at all in the total body of Harvard law professors.
More
And
likely not.
for me, having that odd, crazy professor is probably does more to build people's ability to operate in the world than it takes. Like, unless the crazies take over the funny farm, you know what I mean? And every professor is some
Like this.
absurd
Yeah.
religious nut, you know what I mean? I think having that one hard-ass professor that's weird, you probably come out the other end of that with a more well-rounded education than you would otherwise.
Dude, I got Professor Vermeule's class. This kid's fucking nuts, dude.
I mean, dude, it's no different from all the fucking teachers and philosophers and shit in ancient Greece and whatnot. I mean, those guys, you know, there were people that had just absurd opinions that they spent their lives arguing for, but they were allowed to do it in the symposium, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And this is really the only thing we have like that anymore is higher education.
Still a dumb opinion, though.
That was stupid as fuck.
Eddie Murphy to be honored with Lifetime Achievement Award at 25th Annual Critics' Choice Awards.
Dude, Eddie Murphy went from like zero to fucking hero
You know,
so quick.
I gotta say this, TJ.
Yeah.
It's very rare. You and I have pretty similar taste in movies. Now, we diverge in some areas.
Here and there, yeah.
You recommended that This Is Shaft, or not, I
name-
am Dolomite,
my name
sorry.
is Dolomite.
Dolomite is
Right.
my name, yeah.
To me. You said it was pretty good. I couldn't get through it.
Yeah?
It,
Oh,
it was a
wow.
rare movie that I just kind of had to turn off. And
What do you think was the problem for you?
it just, you know what it was?
What's
Is
that?
I really wanted that rise and fall. And the
Right.
rise happens immediately. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? There's no establishment of like what his life was really like before this, or very little.
Right. Just a kind of a quick
And then all of a
sketch.
sudden he's just the hottest thing, you know, since sliced bread. And it's just like I wasn't feeling that arc. I was like, I'm not gonna care if he loses it all or if he has a bad moment. Like, it just didn't do what it had to do to build my suspense for that big like moment where it all starts to go south. You know what I mean?
You felt the first act was kind of just too rushed, and like
It was filled with a lot of characters too, who's like, this is never a good sign for me in movies. If a character has a lot of screen time, but I don't know what their fucking name is, like, it says something. Like, I can't. There were a lot of people surrounding him who weren't adding much. Now his performance was pretty good, but not good enough to carry it for me. I just didn't like it.
You know, I'm kind of a sucker for an underdog story. I think a lot of people are.
It didn't feel like one to me.
But I mean,
though.
like there was like a.
he was literally on the top of that part of the, you know.
But the thing about the movie is that it's not really about his ride. Like, the reason that the part about him becoming a fucking world-class comedian and shit, and, you know, starting to be a huge selling kind of comic, was because that's like the rise before the rise. Because really, it's about him making the Dolomite movie.
Right, but I just
So
felt like he was printing money by the time he got to that, and I don't know.
well, he struggled a lot in the movie.
Yeah, but basically it was because he decided to make this ridiculous and ill-advised transition
I mean,
from
he-
comedian to filmmaker.
I mean, he makes some pretty in the movie. I mean, obviously, I don't know why you turned it off, but he makes some serious gambles with his financial future based on trying to make this movie. He basically lives in a fucking decrepit, what is it, like theater or something, or hotel or something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was like some junky hotel that people were squatting in, and he decides to clean it up.
And he borrows all.
squat in it.
He basically borrows like all against his royalties and rights on his comedy albums
Right.
to make the movie. So I mean, there's definitely
For whatever reason, and this is probably a flaw of mine more than the movies. When there's a movie that has that kind of a narrative where it's like I come from nothing, I get everything, and then I get back to nothing somehow. I really have expectations for it to take me up that fucking hill before it drops me off. And I didn't feel like that
Just didn't
movie
do it
was
for you.
building towards that for me.
well, I mean, you know, that's not. I mean, that's kind of how it is with movies. I mean, I've been recommended movies, and I just like sat there and was like, "This just isn't for me." The film doesn't have a connection with me.
I really revere all those, like, fucking The Godfather 1 and 2, which I consider to be one movie. That has, like,
Yeah.
to me, that's the perfect curve. Because you get a ton of time seeing Michael as this totally kind of oblivious, wide-eyed, straight-edge guy, and by the end of it, his heart is gone.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? He's just got a
He's the
black
mob
lump
boss.
of coal
Yeah.
where a heart used to be.
Well,
That to me,
I did enjoy the movie, but not really to the level where I would be like, "Oh, it's a sacrilege not to like this movie" or anything.
Yeah.
I think it's just, for me, it was like, that was a really nice fucking little Eddie Murphy movie that I haven't.
He was
I
good
haven't
in
been,
it.
I haven't been able to say that about any of his
I
movies
think
for a while.
you know what
so.
I think it is. I think with my Dolomite Is My Name is that I didn't come in with some huge expectations for the movie. I saw that it was just on Netflix. It's like Dolomite is my name. I clicked, yep, play. I watched the movie and I was entertained.
Maybe that was my problem because I did kind of go in with some expectation just because it was
I can
Eddie
see
Murphy.
that. And I can see that if you built it up like that, I might, because I mean that does affect your perception. It's like Star Wars versus just some random movie. You might enjoy a random movie more if you don't have that huge expectation going in.
I think it's interesting for him to get honored with a Critics' Choice Award of all things, especially since. He's been the bane of critics for a while now.
Dude, Hollywood has embraced Eddie Murphy back
even during his heyday. I don't know that he was necessarily the biggest critical darling. He obviously had a huge.
Yeah, but Eddie Murphy was good for a long stretch of time.
Oh, he was amazing,
and in
the
different
80s.
mediums too.
Yeah.
In the 80s, he was a really
70s
amazing,
and 80s, amazing comic and comedic performer. Great
just
on
like
SNL.
absolutely like he's one of those guys that changed stand-up comedy. He brought an energy to it that few people had even tried before, and he created an entire genre of comedy. You never take that away from Eddie Murphy.
He took a lot of the stuff that was done by people like Carlin and Pryor and Lenny Bruce and stuff, and he just cranked it to fucking 10, and he was just irrepressible on stage.
It's a timeless act too. Like Delirious, he's not very referential. You know what I mean? He makes jokes that. The fucking setup still works today.
Yeah, both of those, Eddie Murphy, Raw and Delirious, both of those hold up really,
Two
really
of the
well.
best comedy specials ever filmed.
Oh, easily, yeah.
Ever easily my top 5 somewhere. I don't know, where I'd put it, but fucking brilliant stand-up that has been emulated and copied and taken from more than you can fucking imagine in the art form.
Anybody working in that industry to this day, obviously, even if
so many careers launched on watching this guy do stand-up and trying to fucking be that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you can't take that away from him. And
really
I got to be honest with you,
amazing talent there.
I liked a few Eddie Murphy's movies. He had some good movies.
No, I think during the 80s especially, he had a lot of like Beverly Hills Cop, I think, is great.
48 Hours.
48 Hours is great. Even Beverly Hills Cop 2 is not that bad to me. 3 sucks.
I love fucking The Golden Child.
Golden Child's a good movie. Trading Places.
Trading Places.
I love that movie. Coming to America is fucking great.
Great comedy.
There's a few others.
Eddie Murphy really fell when he got into doing like the kid kind of comedies. Like the daddy daycare kind of.
You know what movie? I defy you to fucking
Pluto Nash.
No, not even that. I defy you to fucking watch his Vampire in Brooklyn.
I knew you were going to say that. That was my next guess.
I've seen parts of it. I've never seen the whole movie, but I've seen parts of it.
I have never seen a movie more confused about itself than that fucking movie.
I know we have the next commentary set, but that might be one we have to consider at some point.
Yeah, maybe we'll do a double feature. I don't know.
Oh, God.
Thousands of Seattle students. Sorry, Eddie, we got to move on. Oh, is that Eddie Murphy over here on the side, too?
Whoa.
Oh, my God, TJ.
God damn it, TJ.
You
really?
apologize. You did a racism.
Damn, TJ.
Hey, she's the one in blackface, not me.
But she looks like she's a POC, TJ.
I don't know. Thousands of Seattle students told to get vaccinated or don't come back after winter break.
Cool.
I couldn't be happier about this decision. Let's take a look at this video.
I have a slight problem.
Slight
with this.
caveat.
Yes.
Well, hold on. Let's watch a video, and then you can hold on to that for 1 second. Oh, we got at least it's only 13 seconds this time.
Skip ad.
There we go.
Yeah, that's much more enjoyable.
Children will not be allowed to attend school after this Christmas break unless they comply with Washington's new laws on vaccines. KIRO 7's Runchi Sinha was in South Seattle this morning, where the first in a series of vaccination clinics was held.
School notified us. Something we had to get done. We didn't want her to miss school. But
I just wanted to make sure we were good.
Some of the parents in this line say they're not taking any chances when it comes to vaccination. They are taking Seattle Public Schools' warning seriously to get all the shots for their kids so they can stay in school.
Made me feel like, oh gosh, I want to make sure that I'm, being the best parent that I could be.
Jeremy Oliver says he received notice and wanted to take advantage of this clinic.
Nice to have it in my local area. Sometimes it takes a month to get
Look,
an appointment.
99% of the parents are going to feel just like this. They're either going to be in the camp of like, of course my kids are vaccinated. Here's the records.
Or they're going to be like,
oh shit, let me get everything caught up.
I'm glad they're offering this
Right?
clinics.
This dad's going, oh shit, I need to get my kid vaccinated.
And they're doing this. I guess they're doing some kind of clinic here because
At the
obviously
school, yeah.
to help them do it because they didn't have the money or resources or whatever to fucking get it taken care of.
Here's my problem with this. It sets a boundary that I don't agree with. Because, well, I do agree with it, but I don't. I'm thinking from the standpoint of who's the kid in that fucking school that is in most need of a fucking education? Probably the kid of somebody in one of these weird-ass cults who spends their whole day on fucking Facebook talking about how vaccines cause autism and shit.
Right.
And you're saying, well, if you have one of those types of parents willing to dig their heels in, then you don't get no school. Bye.
I can see that, but I mean, like, is it worth letting that kid continue to go
No,
to school when they're a
absolutely
risk to everyone
not,
else
but
around them?
The punitive action ultimately comes down on the head of the child who's not responsible for being unvaccinated.
There's then a casualty of a
you know what I mean?
horrible
But what do
decision.
you? How do you walk the line though?
I don't think there is a line here.
You can't.
Herd immunity is necessary for us to function as a species.
So,
We
I mean-
have to have it.
But somebody, I mean, like, even though that result that you're describing, I think is
The fucking
isn't that just
vaccine-
what we have to accept, or
The process
you need
of
to go further.
The process of vaccinating and the vaccine process that has been developed by medicine over the course of the last 100 years is responsible for the fact that we now live to average 72 years old. Most people were just wiped out by some kind of illness back in the day. And these people are exposing everybody else's children who are bringing it home. You know what I mean? It's an outbreak
And it's
waiting
just-
to happen. And these fucking these things that people are vaccinated against too. There's this, oh, well, it is what it is, man. Nobody's died of mumps in forever. Why do you think that is?
Yeah.
Why do you think Why
it
do you think
used
the
to kill
death
a lot
rate
of
of
people.
mumps is 0 now? Because people are fucking vaccinated against the horrible mumps.
Yeah, and you literally see them in their little Facebook groups, like, rubella. Who gives a shit?
Oh yeah,
How
scarlet
many-
fever,
Oh,
no big deal.
Big deal.
I am part of an anti-vaxxer group.
I know you're a fucking crazy fuck.
Just to just see
I
what they
know,
talk
I'm just
about.
messing with
And it's just like, dude, the insanity. Like, they're like, I need to move out of the state. Oh, when they passed the law in Washington, they're like, I am leaving Washington State. I need freedom. What country can I move to? France, maybe France. France will make me get my kids vaccinated.
I think they're pretty fucking strict on their vaccination laws over there.
It's
you don't
just
hear about
insane.
you don't hear a whole lot of rubella outbreaks happening in France.
And I mean, you're right, and it's sad that these kids. I mean, they're also the victim not only of like you said, a lack of getting
But
a
is
proper
there-
education,
is there some
but from
way-
that, but protection from those diseases.
Well, hold on. I have a question though. Is there some way that you can protect the classroom and with the necessary herd immunity that they need to repel these diseases, but not isolate that kid who's the unfortunate child of some fucking crazy morons?
See,
is there anything you can actually do for that kid?
With me, I'm pretty totalitarian about this. I don't think there's any action that you can take other than legally requiring the people who have chosen to parent children and making it free to have those kids vaccinated immediately and on schedule so that they don't get the fucking mumps.
Unless you have a valid medical reason.
Right, yeah. If they're, but even people that are allergic to certain compounds, and there are other ways to get them fucking vaccinated.
Well, there's people with compromised
There
immune
are some
systems.
people that just can't get it. You're right. And of course, there should be a fucking exemption.
that's
for
a
by the
very
way,
small number of people.
By the way, those are the people who most need the herd protection. by the way.
Exactly. That's why you need it. And also, I mean, when you drop, I think it's like, was it 95% or lower? It's like somewhere around there. Then suddenly these diseases will start coming back. And a lot of these diseases came from New York because people from all over the world come here. They actually have measles or mumps or rubella or whatever it is, whooping cough. And then it transfers in our population like with a amazing astounding
in California, which is,
one of the hot center. Yeah, hotbeds.
Right. My mom ended up with fucking whooping cough. She's in her late 50s when she got it. It's a miracle she survived it. And she got it because she was in contact with a bunch of kids at a church, and there was probably an anti-vaxxer there.
Yep.
That brought the fucking whooping cough that almost killed my mom. My sister's kids all got it. It's not a joke. These fucking diseases literally can kill you. And the older you are, the more fucking likely you are to die from this.
I mean, like in most disease, it affects primarily children and
the young
elderly.
and the elderly.
And and those are the most tragic losses.
Illinois governor pardons 11,000 for low-level marijuana convictions. So, as you guys may or may not know, I mean, I know you guys know, but I'm to the audience out there, marijuana, as of today, legal in Illinois.
Awesome, dude. Another
Yeah,
state.
Does that mean that they have shops open, or is there like a period of transition?
I don't know. If
I
they have
also
shops
dig that they
open
got
yet.
a big fucking fat ass governor too. That's kind
Hey,
of cool.
their governor's fat, not in prison currently. I mean, they're doing good.
Yeah. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker granted more than 11,000 pardons for low-level marijuana convictions on Tuesday, describing the step as a first wave of thousands of such expungements anticipated under the state's new marijuana legalization law. The expungement process is a key part of the law, which takes effect on Wednesday and makes Illinois the 11th state to legalize marijuana for people 21 or older. Lawmakers said they wanted to repair some of the damage caused by efforts to combat sale and use of the drug, particularly in minority communities. It actually sounds like Illinois' law is like one of the best yet, because not only does it legalize weed, it apparently says anyone with these ridiculous, possession charges and things of that
It's been
nature
expunged.
gets that expunged from their fucking record. It's like, we were always wrong to even fuck with you.
Well, at this point, I mean, we've had about 8 years since Colorado and Washington legalized weed, so now they've seen those models work, and now obviously they can build off those models with saying, hey, we fucked up and we even charge people with these and call these crimes to begin with. Let's just get rid of these marijuana convictions.
Pritzker, a Democrat, announced the pardons at a church on Chicago's South Side. He said clearing the misdemeanor offenses from individuals' records would make it easier for them to get jobs, housing, and financial aid for college. So basically, we're no longer going to penalize you because you got caught smoking a fucking joint or with a bag of weed in your back pocket.
I got to tell you, this political movement is one of the only bright spots.
Yeah, it's like the one.
No, I gotta tell you,
fucking America.
It really is. It's one of the only big political pushes that I can think of that are going on right now, of which there are many, that actually seeks to better people's lives in some way or another.
And actually seems like it's going somewhere
and
too.
It's big and it's expansive too. I mean, pardoning 11,000 people out of a mostly privately run prison system. You know how much money that represents?
That's a lot of money.
So
prisoners are a fucking cash crop, dude.
Well, it gets a lot bigger than that because officials estimate 116,000 convictions for possession of 30 grams or less of marijuana are eligible for pardons under the new law. So we're talking about upwards of 100,000 people.
And that's insane to
that,
see
are
the prison industrial complex being walked back is insane. You don't see that. They just get stronger. They go from strength to strength. Every fucking 10 years, they're stronger than they were. It is so strange to see people being taken out of jail, especially in that number. 116,000 people.
We are ending the 50-year-long war on cannabis, Pritzker said. We are restoring rights to many tens of thousands of Illinoisans. I don't know how you say that. Illinoisans, I guess. Illinoisans. We are bringing regulation and safety to a previously unsafe and illegal market, and we are creating a new industry that puts equity at its very core. I like that. I like that fucking quote there.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds good to me.
At least under the auspices of marijuana or cannabis convictions, yeah, I have to.
I don't know
agree.
anything else about this guy, but he's fat and he's pro weed, so
good on him.
I think we gotta fucking fuck all these other presidential candidates. Let's get this fat fuck in there. He just run on like,
Hey,
I'll legalize it everywhere.
Look, you want to smoke some weed? I don't give a shit. Go ahead.
Do one more for the pleb class. Authorities used stun gun 3 times on Florida grandmother on her 70th birthday.
Oh man, thank goodness! I thank goodness for our law enforcement officer.
God bless them. Authorities had an arrest warrant for the woman's grandson, who she said didn't live with her. All right, let's take a look at this story. First, let's take a look at this terrible ad.
Always misunderstood.
He makes a point.
Look,
Yeah, just if you're wondering this.
If you think your
Yeah, we're gonna
family's
fucking.
This is a horrible Adam's Family movie.
No, it's good. It looks good to me.
my battleship. Yes. Get to know the Addams
Yeah,
family.
bonus content too.
Before seeing bonus content.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah, just what I want.
It's one of those things where I don't feel bad about showing people the commercial for it, because who's gonna go watch this?
Nobody.
awesome.
Who's jazzed for this in our audience? Really?
I am.
7:30 in the morning.
Dude, can we just talk for a minute about how great that trailer was? That was a great
I'm
trailer, man.
There's even more shitty footage you didn't see.
It's
All right.
representative of everything that's wrong with
So-
these fucking animated features.
Yes, I would have to agree with you. Even though I haven't dismissed that genre or medium as much as thoroughly as you have, but watching that trailer, I kind of see your point. Anyway, this is a Florida woman getting tased 3 times. Florida grandma. Let's see.
The day after Christmas, Barbara Pinckney has unexpected
right,
visitors.
the day after Christmas,
and we heard
too.
a knock at the door. Well, went on knock. I think they kicked the door. It was a bam, bam at the door.
Manatee County Sheriff's deputies say they came to serve an arrest warrant to Tevin Turner, Pinckney's grandson.
What county?
On violation of probation.
Which county?
I don't know.
Which county was that?
What county was it?
Did you hear the county name?
I'm going to go back.
What county?
Let's listen.
They kicked the door. It was a bam, bam at the door.
Manatee County Sheriff's deputies.
Oh, I see.
Oh, I see.
They say they came to serve an arrest warrant to Tevin Turner, Pinckney's grandson, on violation of probation for carrying a concealed weapon.
When he was on probation, he gave this as his address, but he wasn't living here.
That's not what deputies thought as they came to Pinckney's house wanting to get in. Video shot by her grandson's wife shows her refusing and trying to close the door. It shows a deputy grab the 70-year-old woman's wrist as she pulls back. She is then tased and taken to the ground hard.
Just out.
All right. So hold on.
What an embarrassment.
What the fuck?
So
dude?
I 100% agree that the cops are ridiculous in this scenario, obviously. But if the woman's grandson's wife is living there, I'm assuming the grandson is probably living there too, unless we're talking about different grandsons.
There's still a way to get into her house without tasing an old lady.
Yeah, and I mean, like, unless the warrant. I mean, like, what was he? Did you guys catch what the warrant is for?
They said he had a warrant for his arrest.
Right, but what was it? Is he a fucking mass murderer or something?
Yeah.
I mean,
well, here's the thing: do they have a reasonable suspicion? Like, did they see him walk into the building or something? Then okay, then they go there and arrest him. But like, unless there's actually some evidence that he's there, besides like a piece of paper he once signed said he lived here, like
even
that's
if he's
not
there,
proof.
I don't care if he's there. There is a better way of dealing with a 70-year-old woman than tasing her twice and taking her to the fucking ground.
I mean, I agree with that.
So
I don't think anyone is
So
advocating
let's
for
take
that.
a look a little bit. It's kind of hard to see.
Besides
exactly
these
what's
asshole
going on in the
cops.
footage here.
I mean,
Grandson's wife shows her
Hold on.
refusing and trying to close the door. It shows a deputy grab the 70-year-old woman's wrist as she pulls back. She is then tased and taken to the ground hard.
All right, so I mean, like, how big of a pussy do you really have to be to feel like you need a taser
to tase
deal
an
with
old lady.
to deal with the resistance from a 70-year-old woman?
An old lady.
I don't know.
I'm sorry, officer. I had to tase that old lady. She was gonna gum me to death.
Yeah, like imagine if the police were called on you for tasing an old woman and you had a self-defense angle. You know,
Yeah.
You think they would buy
She
that?
came at me with her walker, and I told her to step back, and she took another walker step forward, and I had to tase her.
I had to
officer.
tase her.
Not to mention if someone
You're asked to be going to jail because no one buys that. But when it's their narrative, we're supposed to be like, oh yeah, reasonable.
Yeah, now what are they gonna do? You know,
Well,
they're gonna get that guy.
her perspective is probably the police just showed up at her apartment and like, we're coming in and we're gonna find him, and if he's not there, then it's like, no, you can't come into my house. Nope, we're gonna come into your house. I mean, what about her fucking rights as a private citizen? Like, unless there's actual look, if there's evidence he's there, that's one thing. If they see him crawling through a window or something, or they surveil him and see he's there, I mean, they're basically just kicking her door down and saying, I wonder if he's here. Hope we can arrest him.
I was just hollering. I was scared. I didn't know what else to do. I was just hollering.
The probable cause affidavit shows Pinckney was hit 3 times with a stun gun in her left arm, her back, and her upper back, and was held to the ground with the deputy's knee. Visible injuries still seen on her body. Barbara Pinkley, on her birthday, was arrested.
On her birthday, it's her birthday. Mm-hmm. It's the day after Christmas. It's fucking.
Man.
They just show up and just brutalize this woman and drag her out of her house.
Yep.
I mean, you know, because they think someone might be there who wasn't there. Maybe even if he is living there, he wasn't there then. You had no evidence he was actually there.
Isn't it their job, if they're really so hot, to get this fucking guy to surveil him and just get him when he leaves the house?
Yeah, or something like that. You know, you think,
or wait until the house isn't filled with celebrators and children and old ladies the day after Christmas. You know what I mean?
If you're gonna fucking go in there, don't fucking you don't need to fucking use I guess it wasn't a taser, a stun gun. Just an up close taser. You don't need to fucking. There's electricity doesn't need to be involved in this fucking process. You know, you'd be like, look, we have a fucking warrant. We're gonna come in. Do not resist. Fucking step back. You can fucking probably talk to this woman and fucking de-escalate the situation. And even if you do need to end up using some kind of force,
let me tell
you
you
don't
something.
need to start using stun guns and shit.
Well, the great insurmountable beast that is a 70-year-old woman is guarding the front door. Why don't you come in through a window? Have somebody, if you're going to argue that it's okay for them cops to bust into a person's house,
which I'm not arguing, by the way.
If you meet an angry, fire-breathing 70-year-old woman at the door, why not send one of these highly trained law enforcement officials around to the back to go in the back porch door or or a window or something that doesn't have an old lady in front of it? What's she gonna do?
Yeah, she's absolutely no threat.
It's unbelievable, dude.
I mean, like, the reason that you guys have like stun guns and tasers and shit is to be able to neutralize threats. This woman's not a fucking threat.
Well,
she's not a threat to you.
She wasn't treated like a threat. She was treated like a nuisance, and like it's obvious that
get out of our way.
It's just the
we're
easiest
the
way.
law.
Yeah, like just gonna stun you now. Yep, you're gonna fall to the ground. Now you're no longer a problem. Now you're going to jail because you made my job a little bit harder.
Like, if you're a cop and you feel like you need to use this level of force against old people and children, then you're just
increasingly see.
Yeah, you're just a fucking moron, and you shouldn't be wearing a fucking badge. Sorry.
I mean, but not only that, should we judge the police by how they treat the most powerful people or by the most vulnerable people? And I think we have our answer.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
For obstruction and resisting an officer.
It's not something you see every day or something you would expect to happen.
Oh, it does happen every day.
Even if she wasn't my grandmother, it's like something like, dang, this is a 70-year-old woman.
Now, the woman who says she's never had any problems with law enforcement says she's traumatized and can't sleep at night.
I don't know. Whenever I see a police, I'm just going.
Yeah, this woman hasn't seen enough hardship and misery and bullshit in her life. Let's give her a complex about sleeping at 70. Way to go. Way to go, cops. Thanks for taking care of us out there, boys.
Good job,
the boys in blue.
You don't think
looking out for you.
You don't think a little better fucking actual fucking on the ground police work could have solved this without tasing an old woman in the back 3 times? You fucking pigs.
Undoubtedly, dude. There's almost no. I mean, like, look. Unless someone has a gun or something or a knife or there's like a clear and present danger to someone's life, come on.
Well, guys, it's that time of the show where we say goodbye to the plebs.
Bye, plebs.
Hey, plebs.
See ya.
The show's not over for everybody. For a lot of people, the show's continuing. This is only about the halfway mark, maybe even a little shy of it. But you don't get to see the rest because you're not a patron. So become a patron.
Sucks to be you.
Become a patron, and you can watch the whole thing. A little preview of what we're going to talk about. We're about to watch the trailer for A Quiet Place 2. In fact, just to rub it in for you, I'm gonna show you. We're gonna be watching that trailer. It's gonna be right there.
Look at it.
Are you gonna get to see it though? No, you don't get to see it because you're not a fucking patron. I'm sorry, I don't make the rules. Actually, I do.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
TJ, you do make the rules.
I do make the rules.
TJ.
Anyway,
doesn't everybody that says I don't make the rules pretty typically actually make the rules?
Yeah.
Anytime that's uttered, it's usually by the person who makes the rules.
We're also going to be looking at a terrible mother who you won't believe what she did to her cancer patient son. We're going to talk about the fires in Australia, doing some crazy fucking shit going on in Australia, some crazy shit going on in the Ukraine. We're going to be, of course, talking about all this tension with Iran. We're going to be talking about the Pope and his the slap heard round the world.
The Pope literally slapped a bit.
He slapped a hoe, man. What can you do?
We're going to talk about some anti-Semitism going on in New York, some new laws regarding the smoking of cigarettes, and also we got a real stingy hospital in the UK to tell you about. But
sweet.
All that's coming up for patrons only. You don't get to see it because you're a pleb, so fuck off, plebs, and die!
Deep bad pride.